Hi everyone, and welcome to lesson 3, where we are discussing the causes of the Second World War. As I said previously, watch the video but also read through your textbook to get a solid understanding of the work. So in this lesson and in the lessons to come, I'm going to mention a few German words, and these German words are important to understand when discussing the Second World War. So get your pen, paper, and be ready on that pause button to jot this down. First, the Reichstag. This is the German parliament, a place where laws are debated and made. Then Lebensraum. This means living space. Hitler wanted more land for Germany, leading to invasions. Führer. This means leader. Hitler was called the Führer. Blitzkrieg, or lightning warfare, a fast, powerful military strategy Germany used to quickly conquer areas. Gestapo was the secret police of Nazi Germany, and Anschluss, the annexation of Austria into Nazi Germany in 1938. So let's move over to the rise of Hitler and the Nazi Party. Hitler was born in Austria in 1889 and did not have a happy childhood. Both his parents died at a fairly young age. Many of his brothers and sisters died as well. Adolf dropped out of school at 16 and went to Vienna, where he aspired to become an artist, but was rejected twice by the Vienna Art Academy. This was actually a painting made by Hitler in 1914. At this stage, things went downhill for Hitler. He tried to make money doing odd jobs and painting postcards, but actually homeless. In 1909, he moved into a homeless shelter and he struggled on for a couple of years. Things changed for him when World War I broke out. Hitler joined the German army. Adolf was awarded twice with the Iron Cross for bravery. The second Iron Cross he received through recommendation of Hugo Gutmann, German commanding officer who interestingly was a Jew. So during World War I he flourished, and this is in contrast with his life before World War I. World War I gave him a sense of purpose and worth, so he was very unhappy when World War I ended. After the war, Hitler entered politics and joined a radical party that would later become the Nazi Party. He came into leadership with his ability to captivate a crowd through his public speaking abilities. His party, the Nazi Party, who was so radical that they tried to take over government by force in 1923, called the Beer Hall Putsch. They failed and Hitler went to prison, where he wrote his well-known book Mein Kampf, which means my struggle. 8 months later, he came out of prison. In the mid-20s, the Nazi Party did not get a lot of votes, but the popularity of the party greatly increased in the early 1930s. Before we get to the rise of the Nazi Party, note that between 1919 and 1933 was the time that the Weimar Republic was the government of Germany. Before 1990 was World War I, and after 1933 was the time when the Nazi Party ruled Germany. So during this time frame, these were the election dates. Have a look at this political map of Germany. It shows how the Nazi Party grew over the years. The brown color indicates the Nazi Party. As you can see, they are pretty much nowhere up until 1930. In 1930, they grew rapidly, and in 1932, they had the vast majority of votes. But they did not have complete power. At this stage, Germany was still a democracy, which means that you only have the amount of seats in parliament in relation to the amount of votes that you received. In Germany in those years, for every 60,000 votes, a political party gets 1 seat in parliament. This image over here represents the German parliament in 1924. Each dot represents 1 seat, and as you can see, the Nazi Party only received 32 seats, which isn't a lot. But they grew, and in 1932 they got 230 out of the 608 seats. So at this stage they were the biggest party in parliament, but far from taking over parliament. So how did they go from this in 1932 to this in 1933 within 1 year? Hitler wanted complete power, and this is how he got it. Firstly, he was appointed as Chancellor, making him the leader in Parliament. Take note, the Chancellor is below the President. Then the Reichstag fire. The Parliament was mysteriously set on fire. Most believe Hitler was behind it, and he used it to blame the communists for starting the fire. He framed them. He convinced the President, Hindenburg, to sign a special law that let him put many people in jail and take away some freedoms. And then the Enabling Act. For me, this act was the tipping point for Hitler. In March 1933, this act enabled the Nazi Party to make decisions without the approval of the entire cabinet. This effectively gave them the right and power to do what they want. So starting with step number 1, if you want to have full control of government, you eliminate opposition. All through 1933, Hitler's Nazi Party got rid of anyone who might oppose them. They used fear, arrests, and set up concentration camps to lock people away that stood against them. And that is how he managed to go from this to total control in 1933. So in 1933, Hitler and his party had full control of government, but the war only broke out in 1939. So what happened between 1933 and 1939? Taking over government was not enough for the Nazi Party. They wanted more, especially land. Remember the term Lebensraum? They wanted more land for the German-speaking people, and they were ready to go to war to have that land. First off, he took over the Rhineland area. Now remember, the Treaty of Versailles did not allow him to take over the Rhineland area, but he ignored the whole treaty altogether. Secondly, he took over Austria, and this was an interesting takeover as Austrians speak German, so it was like a peaceful takeover. I've got some original footage just to showcase this. Have a look.
But 4 months later, on the 12th of March 1938, Hitler's troops marched unopposed into Austria. Any protests were drowned in a tide of wild enthusiasm. In open defiance of the Treaty of Versailles, Hitler declared the Anschluss, or union, of Austria with Germany. He'd returned to the land of his birth as Führer of the Greater German Reich.
But he wanted more Lebensraum, and he took parts of Czechoslovakia. And then later he took the entire country. So at this point you must be wondering, did the other countries just look upon Germany and allow them to take over Czechoslovakia and Austria and the Rhineland? Did the treaty not restrict them from doing any of this? Yes, the treaty did restrict them, and the other countries kind of just allowed them to do that. And that brings me to the term or the policy of appeasement. It was a strategy used by some European countries like Britain and France in the 1930s to avoid war with Nazi Germany. They allowed Hitler to take over some territories, hoping it would satisfy him. So I might make a fool of myself now, but I'm going to act something out to just explain this better. Hi France, hi Britain. Listen, I just want to take the Rhineland area back, just sending in some troops there. Don't worry about it. Bonjour, Germany. Listen, okay, the Rhineland, just don't take anything more. And Austria, they are friends, they speak German, so I just want to take that also. Don't worry about it. Don't take more than that. We don't want war. Czechoslovakia, the Germans are suffering there. I have to take that, just parts of it. I'm taking the whole Czechoslovakia. Okay, we're not going to say anything now. We're not going to declare war. Just don't go further. Actually, Poland. I want to take some parts of Poland as well. That's it. You can't take Poland. And he invaded Poland. And at that stage, that is when Britain and France declared war against Germany. And that is when World War II started in the European sphere. Wow. In the last 2 lessons, we covered all of this. a lot of causes for World War II. In the next lesson, we are going to discuss World War II within the European sphere and World War II in the Pacific sphere. Thank you for watching and see you next time.